What's up, y'all? I'm gonna try something different today. Make sure my Bluetooth is on. Yep. So look, it's making me a quick errand tonight in Westside St. Paul. So look, this is gonna be a little different. I'm driving, so I'm gonna be kind of recording. So of course I gotta pay attention and whatnot. I'm gonna do a different little story time for y'all tonight, right? Now, I want to talk about this year specifically for me. It's been a very interesting time in my life, and you guys have heard some of the interviews that I put together because I want to share with y'all my way of interviewing. And just, you rarely get to see interviewing from an IT perspective, especially from the Black American perspective. That's not something that you get to see. People don't really be trying to show people their interviews and, and how they go about it and the questions they ask and things with these little companies and whatnot. People don't usually share that. So I wanted to share that with y'all, okay? That's why I'm doing them. Now, to tell you a little bit, you might hear a little wind because I don't want to turn on the AC. It's 40 degrees out right now. There's no sense in doing that. But I might open the windows if it gets too hot. These roundabouts in West St. Paul is something else, I tell you. I lost my damn train of thought. These roundabouts. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I want to tell you guys about what happened this year. Okay? So, as y'all know, I had a large contract with a large pharmaceutical insurance company dealing with APIs, integration, stuff like that. That was supposed to go on, but due to what they call global consolidation, basically they could just take these H-1B visas, or they could basically hire people in India for a lot cheaper. So the contract ended, right? And what I had to realize, there was some large mistakes that I made this year. I've been working remote for the last couple of years, right? And the thing is, you get used to that. The remote positions, in a sense, I'll say it might have spoiled me a little bit. I can admit that. Okay? So, real talk. There was a lot of different hybrid positions that I should have, considered and interviewed, and I didn't want to do the hybrid thing. I guess I didn't want to risk getting sick, and then I was like, okay, I can just do this remote thing. But there's been a big push for the hybrid, and a lot of large companies are saying, well, we want you in 5 days a week. Elon Musk was saying it. Dell, there was people from Dell, they want their salespeople, which is crazy. You should be able to make a sale remotely, because but you might need to meet with some customers. So they wanted people to come in 5 days a week. And it also destroys people's double up capabilities as well, because that's been a big thing too. Because the price of living is high as hell. So some folks been working 2 gigs remote, and I can't knock it. A lot of IT engineers were even encouraging it. So the mistake I made was what? DP, what was your mistake? The mistake I made was I didn't take advantage of some of those hybrid interviews, because like I said, I didn't want to work hybrid. I've been used to working remote. I've been able to shave off anywhere between 30 to 60% of office politics by working remote. I ain't got to worry about people not washing their nasty ass hands. I ain't got to worry about your potluck. I ain't got to worry about your holidays, none of that. So I just wanted to do the remote thing. A lot of that started drying up. a lot of the remote positions started paying cheaper. That's another thing they did. They decreased the price of the remote rates. And then they were sending a lot of these positions over to India, which I think should actually be illegal to a certain degree, where Americans can't get these jobs, and if they do, they want to pay you in the lower 20s. I noticed the remote positions that should have been paying 30, 35, 40. They were hitting you up, trying to make you hardly pay, you know, they don't want to pay you nothing. So I noticed something started happening, a lot of on-site positions, data center positions. I said, okay, I may have to start checking out stuff like that. So I started applying at positions, because remember, there's people that were just like me. They did not want to work remote, or they did want to work remote. So there's a lot of on-site positions that were open, stuff that I used to just look over. When I see them, I'd be like, man, I ain't applying for that. So I started applying. So what I had to do, I had to take positions with what I call layer 1. And what I mean by layer 1, they ain't gonna let me in. I'm gonna have to just keep going. Get on 94 East. Layer 1 positions. So, as y'all seen some of my pictures, I took a position installing cameras, and as far as I'm concerned, I call it a contract. I go with the highest bidder. I don't have any loyalty with these damn companies. My loyalty is to the dime. Whoever's paying the most and what works out best for me, that's what I'm going with. So I'm not going to stick around. If I find something that pays a lot more, unless it's something I really, really like, I'm not going to stick around in the 20s. So to get myself back to work, what I do, I took a position installing Internet of Things, IoT devices on the buses. But in my mind, as I sat there with all those interviews, I had no intention on staying there anytime soon. Because you got to keep in mind, the last couple of years I've been used to earning the 100 to 150,000 a year. So I'm not gonna stay anywhere anytime, you know, I'm not gonna stay nowhere for that little bit of money. I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna keep my horizons open. And that's what I did. I worked there a couple months. I found a fully remote position, let's say that's a contract, supporting internet service providers that pay me, what's that, $23, $6 more, $5-6 more. So I'm gonna roll with that. This position, of course, I'm not thinking about staying there either. I'm trying to get back into the $75,000 to $150,000 range. I'm not gonna stay anywhere that I don't think I'm gonna be able to prosper. You see what I'm saying? But what I had to humble myself. I had to go back and do what I used to do. I had to take a layer 1 position, which you're dealing with, Cat 5 cables, and it's just cabling. Does this work? Oh, I plugged it in. Does this work? Why is it not working? Okay, it could be a bad cable. So I pretty much took like a cabling position. That was the position that I told y'all about before, where folks was stealing my lunch and doing little janky stuff. In my mind, when that first happened, I'm like, well, I ain't gonna stay here. I ain't tolerating this. So now, the position that I do now is second shift. You're dealing typically with layer 1 and layer 3 of the OSI layer. But it's internet service provider. So anytime you guys got an internet service, and they're telling you it takes hours and 5-6 days to do this and do that, no, all they got to do is click a button. There's a provisioning team that they may be backed up with a lot of different, installations for you to be able to get your internet service, but don't never believe them that, the sky has to crash and they got to dig up a velociraptor bone and then they got to boil it up in some soup and they got to go through all these changes. No, all they have to do is press a button. Hopefully my volume is good. I'm a little loud, but hopefully my volume is good. All they got to do, y'all, is press a button. That's all they got to do. They will try to tell you and talk to you as if they have to do all these different things. And Comcast is pretty much the same. Now this place, of course, supporting a lot of the rural areas. And one thing about it is they got this Hills Have Eyes kind of good old boy kind of feeling. It's a lot of nepotism, you know. It's definitely not the place that I would really want to work on site. And the beauty of it is I'm able to just do the remote thing until I can find better. So I can work second shift and then I can interview in the morning. Now there's going to be a business system analyst position that I'm probably going to interview, and I'm going to record that for y'all. I'm going to record that using my podcast machine, because as y'all know, the quality when I use my Bluetooth, and you know, most of these interviews are on Microsoft Teams. When I use my Bluetooth, it's kind of janky, and I don't want to degrade my quality for you guys. I'm trying to raise the quality on the channel, you know. So I don't know how often I'm going to be using that. It's just that my desk kind of got full. What we going on? 11 minutes? Oh, that ain't too bad. Another 11 minutes, I'll be home, and I'll upload this and get it going. When I use that the last update for that recruiter that just kept asking me all those questions over and over and over and over again, like he was a homicide detective, I was using Bluetooth headphones because I didn't want to hook up my podcast equipment, because I had so much stuff. I got my work computer, I got another laptop, I got so much stuff on there. But the next time that I have another interview, and I'm like, even there's gonna be times, y'all, I'm just gonna be taking interviews just for the sake of it. Even if I got what I want, I'm gonna take it so y'all can kind of see what the process is. So this position, business system analyst position, I don't know what's up with this dude here. Something wrong with his car. I don't know what's up. Move around. It'll be another business system analyst position. With a large financial firm. I dealt with them in the past. I was doing some Citrix support. I won't say what it is just yet. But I just applied for them. I really didn't want to work down there. It's downtown as well. I think the parking is a little easier than where the other place that I went, but you know, I'm trying to get the bag. So I figured, well, I'll roll with that place, see what they're talking about. So I applied senior business analyst role, and we'll check it out. We'll check it out. But yeah, y'all, sometimes, you know, you can take a nosedive. This year I took a nosedive, and I gotta say, the reason I was in that predicament, it was because of me. You know, I'm not even really gonna blame the economy. Like some people say, oh, it's the pandemic, it's the economy and stuff like that. No, I made a bad decision. I made a very, very, very bad decision. And it costed me a lot of money. You see? So I had to humble myself and do some positions that I did not want to do in order to stay afloat and do what I need to do. That's the thing. There was a lot of stuff coming up in my career when I was starting. There was positions, and you know, there was things that I didn't really care for doing, but I had to take the position to keep it going. But because I'm older and I have other responsibilities, when you have a mortgage and you have kids and wife and stuff like that, it's different than when you're first starting off. But even if you're first starting off, you want to get into the mindset as if you have a bunch of responsibilities, so you can make good decisions on how you're going about making money. See, they sold, and see, that's another thing that I talked about in my book in regards to just H-1B visas and this, you know, the whole immigration thing and things of that nature. The reason why I mentioned that is because what they tried to just sell Black America these last couple weeks is, well, it's boogeyman, but there's no specific policies. You got to think, we're one of the largest consumers of technology. One of the largest. All we do is consume, watch stuff, make stuff cool, but we don't get that bandwidth back. We don't. We'll watch stuff and we'll send 1,000 videos to each other. Hee ha, kiki, oh, this is funny. Look at this. Oh, well, check out this information. But we don't get the bandwidth back. The companies make all of that money. So it's really not that economical for us when you really think about it from that standpoint. I'm not hating, I'm just saying it's really not that economical. We spend a lot of our usage providing data for all these other folks, and all they do is data mine and carve out a lane, and they make money off of that. But there was really no policies that was created, like no technology policies. Like I always talk about the power user groups, and I say, well, you know, Black folks should be on the forefront of technology, of controlling it, having some kind of ownership in terms of controlling the technology. Because we're all over these platforms and we don't really get nothing back. All we're really getting is likes and clout. You can't cash clout in. You can't. It'll be here today and gone tomorrow. You see what I'm saying? Look what happened to Lil Durk. They said a lot of fans were on the internet. And we talk about technology now. I'm just saying, they were on the internet talking about what he should do, what revenge he should take. And look where he is now. Listening to the internet. People wouldn't have been saying, it might have been in his homies' ears, but who would have been saying, if there was no internet, what would people be saying about it? It would have just been some niggas shot in Atlanta and some shit that went down to LA, and you wouldn't have heard nothing. If there was no internet, there would have been no Brick Baby to start running his mouth. I'm trying to make a point is what I'm saying. We're all over these airwaves and we ain't got no bandwidth. We don't own none of this kind of stuff. These platforms are literally becoming filthy rich off our own demise. And I'm not saying that, well, we shouldn't use YouTube. I mean, that's the given platform. You got the gram, you got, you know, Facebook. I mean, people do what they do, but that, you know, that's kind of, I don't know if people use that as much, like, especially people my age. Like, I don't know. I think it's just for keep in touch with family and stuff. I rarely use it. I might post something if there's a new book or a release, or if there's some artwork I want to share or whatever, you know, I might do something like that. But man, it's gonna be some major changes for the good or the bad in these next few years. And what I'm saying is, like, when they say suppression, well, like my last video, digital voter suppression, they try to sell us on boogeyman tactics and sell us on, well, you need to do this and you need to do that, and if you don't do it, especially black men, targeting black men, telling us what's in our best interest. telling us what they think is in our best interest online. That wasn't just, we don't really watch TV. That was all online. All across Twitter, all across all these platforms. And the shaming tactics didn't work. It backfired. Because it was enough non-beta males to say, hey, no, I don't give a damn what you're saying. I don't believe this is in my best interest. There was all kinds of algorithms targeting black men on everything. We're the problem. No, we just decided to say, you know what? I'm going to think for myself and I'm going to make a conscious decision. I call it digital political warfare. This was digital political warfare. So, you know, we got to kind of look at these platforms like, you know, start calling stuff out. But damn it, it's a new day. It is a new day. Yeah, I'm pulling up. So yeah, y'all gonna see me in the dark a lot, you know, if I'm making these night drives. I might even start doing, I wonder if I should start making the night drives. You ain't gotta see my face all the time. Guess I gotta pull in a little bit more. Pull in just a little bit more. Yeah, man. We're going to have more interviews on the table. I'm going to start interviewing more people. Yeah, the internet's something, I'm telling you. Like I say, I literally deal with the internet every day, supporting it. As I was saying, like a lot of customers, they'll have DSL lines. The DSL lines are kind of an older thing of the past, but there's still a lot of people that have them in a lot of rural areas. But like I told y'all, I was going to tell y'all, I'm not going to say the name of this place, but they selling these folks fiber, and the fiber is trash. It makes me start wondering about fiber and the whole, I get to see it. I get to see this fiber that they selling these folks is working worse than the actual copper lines that they had before. Fiber's supposed to, it's emitted with light. You're not dealing with interference. So they're selling these folks on these fiber lines, and the fiber lines are working worse than the ones they got. And I'm sitting there on the phone with these folks, and they lying. But like I say, sometimes you got to kind of take a step back. I'm seeing that how I initially started my career, it's becoming more physical. I'm starting to do things that how I used to do, because like I say, this remote stuff, they sending that over in India. You see what I'm saying? If you don't have nowadays, if you don't have something where you're working with your hands or like a trade, not just IT, I'm saying, I'm talking about getting a bag, y'all. Electricians, journeymen, plumbers, whatever. If you're not working with your hands, they're offsetting a lot of that remote stuff. You're going to have to do something with your hand at some point. The remote stuff, the help desk, they'll pay a little bit. But they want to try to move AI in a certain way where it's starting to offset people even more. You're going to have to do something where you're going to have to get up and do something. So what I had to do was, as I was applying for all of these other positions, like, okay, I want to work remote. Once I became open to say, all right, I'm open to hybrid, the door started opening up a little bit more. But I was anti-hybrid all the way. I was like, okay, I could do the same job where I'm at. But one of the things that ended up having to be an issue for me is working from home, the damn distractions. Because like when your wife and kids and stuff, when they see you, now you're available. And it really, I used to wonder how, like, I used to hear where they say that some guys work remote, they feel like they're going crazy because they can't get shit done. unless you have a completely dedicated place where you got to pretty much lock folks away from you. Otherwise, they just going to be bothering you. I understand. You literally need a completely dedicated place away to be able to do your work, so there's no interference. You can't have any interference because, you know, and now the good thing about working remote is if I got somebody that's working on a house or a vendor coming out, I don't like guys coming to the house if I'm not there. A lot of times dudes, they come in, they be on funny stuff, but when there's another man there, they don't really do that. And you don't want people up in your house. So that's a nice thing about the remote. The other part is saving gas, wear and tear your vehicle. So that's good. So now, you know, with the hybrid thing, I'm like, okay, I still get to get back out. And another thing, working on site, you're still in the world, you can make your connections. I was listening to something where a billionaire said at one point, he said 90% of positions, or not positions, 90% of business is done offline. And I just thought about that. And I thought about, well, there's Amazon and there's all these other places, but there's people that don't go to Walmart and order online. They walk in. There's people that don't order off DoorDash. They walk in. Think about all the contracting, large telecom firms and stuff. They're not going to www.comcast.com. They're not doing that. If they do, they're asking for a callback from an account executive, right? But here's the thing. Real business is done with a handshake and saying, okay, this is what we can offer you. You have large contracting, billion-dollar contracts, million-dollar contracts, trucking. The initial contact might be online, but you might get on the phone. You see what I'm saying? There's places that do a lot of telecom contracts. You're not ordering everything online. You're getting on the phone and talking to a real salesperson. Big construction companies, if you buy a bulldozer, you're not buying that online. What does it say? Call for price. You're getting on the phone. And you know, a bulldozer costs anywhere between 75 to a couple $1 million depending on the size of it. So all these different, like, you know, they put a car wash over here by the house and stuff. All of these large construction firms, these trucks, man, all of these vehicles, ain't none of these vehicles under $75,000 or $100,000. Nobody's typing on a keyboard with and swiping a credit card. No, there's ACH payments transactions. These are phone calls. These are big deals. So, you know, when you think about it in perspective, I said, okay, so the big money may not necessarily always be on the keyboard remote. You might have to get up and go out and make it happen. And that's what I learned in 2024. I'm going to upload this. We're going to keep it going, y'all. Peace.